The wind howled outside, a mournful sound that seemed to claw at the window pane. Inside, the only light came from the flickering television screen, broadcasting the boisterous New Year's Eve celebrations from Times Square. I was alone, just as I'd been for the past 3 years since Sarah left. The old house, a relic from my grandparents, creaked and groaned around me, its usual symphony of age, amplified by the storm. I pulled my blanket tighter, trying to ignore the gnawing emptiness that always came with this night. The countdown began on TV. 10, 9, 9, 8. A loud thud from the attic made me jump. My heart hammered against my ribs. It was probably just the wind, Premeta told myself. A loose board or a branch hitting the roof. 7, 6, 5. Another thud, louder this time, followed by a scraping sound, like heavy furniture being dragged across the floorboards right above my head. My blood ran cold. The attic was empty. I'd cleared it out myself years ago. There was nothing up there but dust and memories. 4, 3, 2. The scraping stopped. Silence descended, thick and suffocating, a stark contrast to the cheering crowd on the television. 1, Happy New Year. The ball dropped. Confetti rained down on the screen, but I couldn't tear my eyes from the ceiling. A faint, rhythmic tapping started. Tap, 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 tap. It was slow, deliberate, and it was moving. It traveled from the center of the attic towards the access panel in the hallway ceiling, just outside my living room door. I grabbed the heavy iron poker from the fireplace, my hand trembling so badly I could barely hold it. The tapping stopped directly above the square hatch. I held my breath, straining my ears. A soft creak broke the silence. The sound of the attic panels slowly, agonizingly, being pushed open. I couldn't see it from where I was sitting, but I could picture it perfectly. A square of darkness appearing in the white ceiling. My mind screamed at me to run, to get out of the house, but my legs were frozen, locked in place by a primal fear. Then I heard a whisper. It was a dry, rasping sound that slithered down from the hallway, a voice that was both ancient and chillingly familiar. Leo, it hissed. My name? How did it know my name? The voice was Sarah's, or what was left of it, twisted, broken, but undeniably hers. Leo, I'm cold. I scrambled back on the couch, the poker held out in front of me like a pathetic shield. The cheerful music from the TV felt like a mockery, a broadcast from another universe where monsters didn't crawl out of attics on New Year's Eve. Sarah, I whispered, my voice cracking. Is that you? A low, guttural laugh echoed from the hallway. It wasn't Sarah's laugh. Hers had been like wind chimes. This was like gravel being churned in a cement mixer. I've been waiting, Leo, for so long. The temperature in the room plummeted. My breath plumed in front of my face. The edges of the TV screen began to frost over from the inside. A dark, slender shape began to emerge from the hallway's shadows. It was tall, impossibly so, its limbs bent at unnatural angles. It unfolded itself from the darkness, a silhouette against the faint light from the kitchen. It wasn't Sarah. It was a nightmare, given form. Long fingers tipped with what looked like shards of bone scraped against the wall as it moved. It took a step into the living room, its joints popping and cracking with each movement. Its head lolled to one side, and 2 pinpricks of faint, phosphorescent light glowed where its eyes should have been. It cocked its head, and that terrible, rasping voice spoke again, this time from right in front of me, though its mouth, a jagged slash in its face, didn't move. You left her, Leo. You left her in the cold. My mind reeled back to that night. The argument. The snowstorm. Sarah storming out of the house, shouting that she was leaving for good. I'd been too angry, too proud, to go after her. They found her car the next day, crashed into a ditch at the bottom of the old mountain road. They said the cold got to her before anyone could find her. Guilt, cold and sharp, stabbed me. a pain more real than the creature standing before me. I didn't mean to, I choked out, tears streaming down my face. I'm so sorry, Sarah. The creature let out a shriek that vibrated through my bones, a sound of pure agony and rage. Sorry isn't enough, it screeched, lunging forward. I swung the poker wildly. It connected with a sickening crunch, like hitting a bag of wet sticks. The thing recoiled, but only for a second. One of its long, bony hands shot out and wrapped around the poker. An unholy cold seeped into the iron, freezing my hand to the metal. It twisted, and a sharp snap echoed in the room as my wrist broke. I screamed, dropping the useless poker. It was on me then, its weight crushing, its breath a foul stench of grave dirt and decay. The 2 points of light burned into my soul. Now, it rasped, its voice a triumphant whisper that mimicked Sarah's one last time. We can be together, forever. In the cold, the world began to fade, the cheering from the TV a distant, forgotten echo. The last thing I saw was its jagged mouth opening wide, wider than any human mouth could, descending towards me as the darkness finally, completely, took hold. The new year had begun, and my old life had just ended. Thank you so much for listening to my story tonight. If you enjoyed this dive into the darkness, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next tale. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video.